Hi, and welcome back to the Singer's Process. Joining me for our ongoing conversation is Mattie Mills.
Hello.
And Leonard Patton.
Hello.
Here we all are. And I'm Lillian Palmer, saying, who's this woman in the middle? I don't know. But we're going to start off today's session, something a little fun. What's happened to us on stage performing, some bloopers, some crazy things that we've all experienced, I know, over the years. Who wants to go first? Raise your hand.
Oh.
Go for it, Mattie.
Okay, I'll go
Come
first.
forward, Tin Man.
I have three quick ones. I swallowed a bug while singing, and it was at a mosquito-filled golf course, and I went for the big note with my mouth wide open, and in flew a mosquito. Oh, my God.
How'd it taste?
I don't know. It went down pretty quickly. And so there was that. And then another time I misspelled the word respect as I was singing Respect by Aretha Franklin. And I had seen a little blurb of her on YouTube doing a fancy Respect where she was singing R to the E to the S to the E to the C to the P T. So I decided to try it without practicing it. And
So what did you actually sing? Share with the class.
I was like, R to the S to the P C. Okay, you guys spell it. They were laughing, and I was dying. And it was just one of those things you just kind of have to let it roll, because that was pretty disastrous. That was kind of fun. Probably making up words on stage, too.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I think, all of us have maybe done.
Oh, yeah.
You know, where it just leaves. And it leaves because you're thinking too much about it. But the minute you stop to think, I'm not going to think anymore about the lyrics, you magically open your mouth and the lyrics come out. I mean, the right ones.
Something comes up. Oh, wrong song. How about you, Leonard?
Well, there's that.
What's happened to
I've
you?
thought about wrong song, like I forgot what song we were even starting. That's happened a couple of times. It's a lot of the stuff that my experience was things that maybe happened to other people.
And you just sat back and got to watch?
On stage and just watching. Well, like one instance was I was going to USIU. We were doing a musical. We were doing The Mikado, Gilbert and Sullivan. And there's one moment where we're all kind of, except the main guy who was singing his thing and moving around. There's us who were on the back upstage, kind of frozen. There's people that are frozen. This guy forgets all his lyrics. One of the most reliable guys. I mean, we'd been doing the show already, and he just started making stuff up. Blah, yeah, blah. But the funny thing was not him. It was everybody's reaction, and all you could see is people go like convulsing and crying because it was just so funny. So funny. And then another instance I'm not going to name names, but I did this show Mixtape for 4 or 5 years, whatever, for Lambs Players Theater and downtown. And I can take up an old episode of stuff that happened. But there's one instance where this person, she's amazing. They're all amazing. We're like all in our places, and she's singing. I have climbed highest mountain. I have run through the fields only to be with you. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. And she said, I have run through the sea. Now, the funniest thing wasn't her singing "See." The funniest thing is I could hear a girl out somewhere in front for second row. Did she just say "See"? Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness! That was hilarious. Oh my gosh! Did you just say "See"?
In instances like that, you almost have to go with the audience. I was doing a show. I was doing a show at the at the Old Globe Theater, Godspell. Back in the day, I was like 17. We'd done it main stage, and then we took the show during the summer to the Cassius Carter, which is theater in the round. Now, I was like 17. I had glasses and braces on my teeth. And one of the parables was the actor, she had a glove on, right? And I'm talking to this parable, right? And I go, 2 pieces of silver. And I would smile, and she would come up to my tooth and yank, like, haha, 2 pieces of silver, right? Yeah. Well, the glove, somehow a string or something got caught on my braces, and her hand came out of the glove, and the glove is hanging on my mouth. And this is theater in the round, people, right? And so she looks at me, and I look at her, and we're like panicked for a moment, and then I'm like checking it, and then the audience, everyone just broke. Everyone, the audience, the actors on stage, they're all cracking up, and I'm like trying to figure out how to get this.
And you don't know which way to pull.
No.
Right, because I had wires and all over thing in my teeth, and so I thought, and this moment flashed. I thought, I'm going to have to, because in Godspell you never leave the stage, right? So I thought, I'm going to have to just do the rest of the show with this thing hanging from my mouth. And so I was, all of a sudden I just started swinging my head around, the glove was swinging like this, and people were laughing, and I just finally just said, okay, here we go, Hail Mary, and I just yanked it.
And it came?
It came out. So I went center stage, and everyone was like, yay, and I bowed. I thought, yahoo, I bowed to each corner of the room. And then once at the well, talk about, it was the opening of the show, right? The first scene, and it's a cast scene. Everyone comes running out. It was Most Happy Fellow, and the actor comes out, and he's the mailman, and for some reason he didn't come in properly, so it was like a measure behind, or something went weird. And so me backstage with everybody else, we're all supposed to come running out going, the mail is in, the mail is in, the mail is in. Of course, I'm the only one who came running out on stage, zoom, in the middle of it. The mail is in, the mail is in. And then everyone started following me, right? And just everyone's face. And you could see, because the guys in the pit were always playing practical jokes, right? The musicians in the pit. And everyone on stage is just trying, like you, cracking up, tears are coming down their face, and I'm just trying to keep it together for the rest of the scene. And then that night, because that was a matinee, the musicians in the pit had a sign, "Not yet, Lillian." When we all came out and did her, "Not yet, Lillian." But things like that, I mean, crazy things. If you're not on top of your game, you can like become a deer in the headlights, or the anxiety, the performance anxiety of something like that. If you have not reached a level where you have that under control,
right?
can really play havoc with the rest of your night or the rest of your week or year.
Yep.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
How have you guys dealt with performance anxiety? I mean, over the years.
Ooh. Well, so for me, I mentioned last episode that the fear and just initially getting on stage. Ultimately, it was not so much performance anxiety for me. Once I got to that point, I can. But there was that barrier to even get on stage. Again, going back to that fear, where I just, there's the mental games.
The voices in your head.
Yeah. I've never been, other than that time when I was 5 years old, where I just like shut down. I didn't sing. For the most part, I've never gotten on stage where I was just like freaked out. Mm-hmm. It's really beforehand, or just worrying about doing everything right and stuff. And so a lot, performance anxiety can happen on stage or before you get on stage. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, I mean, it's a little of both, but a lot of it is that preparation beforehand.
Yes, very important.
And so as the years go on, you realize, it's all about, preparation and knowing our stuff. And even times when we didn't know it, because a lot of times you don't have a lot of time to rehearse, and you're literally like, you're going up kind of cold, and everybody's in the same situation, and you just kind of if you don't have that experience, that could be
Yeah.
kind of frightening. But if you have that experience, you're like, you know what? This is where your professionalism and your musical skills and all the stuff that you've learned are coming into place.
Yeah.
You have to think about that, because most of the time, as professionals, we don't have to think about those things. They're just kind of a part of us. We just perform, we just sing, we just do what we do. We communicate what we're trying to communicate musically. But there are times where the skill and the things we learned are carrying us through the show.
Oh,
And they're
absolutely.
literally carrying us through to get from point A to point B. So yeah, some people, there's a lot of other people who've dealt with a lot more performance anxiety where they are prepared. It's not like they didn't prepare. They just get up there and there's something that happens where they almost can't perform. And I've never had that. I don't know. Have you had that kind of performance anxiety?
Yes, I have. So I wish I knew then what I know now and what I've practiced and learned to practice, and that's meditation and the power of breath. And so my problem was I would stop breathing and I'd hyperventilate. So my first solo I had was 14 words long, and it took everything in my being to get through that. And even though I was supported, I had a choir around me, and then it was my turn, I had to get through those 14 words, and it was painful, and it was rock and roll that got me out of it, actually. It was another song. This one was a Karen Carpenter song. I was like, I can't do it. But I needed to do it. And I think this was just a part of my own personal development. Yeah. And now, we've talked about monkey brain, and when the thoughts go through our minds that stop us, and it's really that self-doubt, that talk about ourselves. And really, I just have to say to everybody, learn how to breathe. Learn how to breathe in for 4, hold for 7, hiss for 8. When you hold your breath, you increase the CO2 level in your brain, and that calms you down. So it's taking a breath in through your nose and holding it, and then slowly releasing it for the count of 8. And I just am such a proponent for that now, just because we stop breathing. Humans stop breathing every day.
So breathe very shallowly during the day.
You're breathing, you're catching shallow breaths. It's like 40% of the air that you want to get, and you're not getting a diaphragmatical breath because the mind starts tricking you. So mine was breathing, and mine was the anxiety of like, am I going to have enough air? I don't have enough air to sing the song, because of all the other things that the monkeys were laughing at, But it was the power of letting my voice out that got me through. It was the song by Boston called Long Time. It's been such a long time. And I found that I could take a breath in, and I could really let it out like a rush of water, and it was like, whew. Yeah. And then that's what got me through that. Yeah.
I mean, the self-doubt that you can have on your own performance. And you might know exactly what you're doing. I've got my lyrics down, I've got my blocking or whatever it might be. And still, that, like you're saying, that little monkey mind gets you, So having a technique and over the years, your preparation is so important. When you were talking, it brought up I totally forgot about this. I was doing Brigadoon at the Welk, and the director comes to me on a Friday and says, I need you to go on for Meg, the second lead, the comic lead, on Tuesday. Now, we already have 4 shows, right, from then, and I had to learn. And her songs were patter songs. Oh. 5 verses. We cut one of them because it was impossible for me to learn 2 patter songs in like 3 days and be at the theater all day long with shows. So I had basically Monday to learn it, which was the day off. Wow. And this was 5 verses of Patter, her wedding song. I'm telling you, everything I have ever learned in my life as an artist, as a singer, as an actor, everything and I was in my 30s at this point, coming to me to do this song. I was standing in the wings, and everybody was around me, right? Because they all knew. Yeah, I had to go on and do her entire show, but learning this pattern, all her dialogue. And everyone was just kind of looking at me, and I said, just, let me concentrate here. Let me think, before we get on stage. And, you hear your heart pounding, and you're just going, you're trying to breathe. And baby, I nailed it. I was so happy. I was so nailed it. And they have this long bench that I'm supposed to straddle, and the guys are supposed to lift me up on it. Well, the girl who was playing the part was a little bit more voluptuous than me. And so they were ready for that weight, right? So when they lifted me up, I came off of the bench. Luckily, I was straddling like a horse, right? Boom! And they all kind of, the frightening expression on their face, So that night when we did the show, Lil stayed on that horse. I'm like, okay, guys, it's me now, right? Little Lil. Boom! Landed on that sawhorse coming down again on that plane. But yeah, just the confidence that you gain as a performer over the years, the techniques that you learn, not only as a vocal performer and learning your vocal technique, but as an actor, an instrumentalist, everything, that you have that confidence. But it also is coupled with humility. And we talk about gaining confidence, but also the humility of being a performer, that in any moment there's always going to be somebody better than you or different than you that maybe takes that spotlight, and staying your course. So what do you think about that?
There's that balance. I think you're not. I've never thought about competition with other people when it comes to music or theater or whatever. In fact, I love getting other people work. I've gotten many calls over the years to recommend people for stuff, and I love getting people work. It's just one of my joys. And so most of the time when people say I can't sing really well, can actually sing a little better than they think.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's like, I can't sing at all. I can't. When you deal with them, it's like, no, you're actually a little better than you think you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're not humble, you will be humbled at some point in time, because it's going to come at a time where you're gonna be squashed, and a lot of times either you just end up quitting, or just it's a traumatic experience. So
You burst your own bubble.
yeah, you burst your own bubble, or somebody bursts it for you, and you don't want that. You don't want that to happen. You want to always confidence. You need confidence, because confidence. Confidence is something I didn't have initially, where it's like I didn't even want to go for that audition or go for this or that. I didn't have the confidence. You need the confidence to know that you're good enough to do that. Humility is understanding that you know your place among the grand scheme of things.
And you can learn from others.
And you can learn from others. You can constantly learn from the people that you work with, that you see, you watch, you listen to, you work with.
Yeah.
And if you have that, you're always grounded. There's that balance. It's like, but have that confidence when it's like you see an opportunity. Can I do this? It's like, yeah, you can. Can you do it? If you've got the tools and you've worked hard, you can do this.
That's how you did your patter there.
I did, and let me tell you, for me, when my nerves kick in, I have to go to the bathroom a lot. Thank you for sharing, Lillian. So it was the Purge that weekend trying to
What is it
learn.
about that?
I know.
It was the All-in-Ones
Me
Club.
too.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Physiologically, it's
Yeah,
just,
the butterflies or anything, and something goes into your intestines, and they go, okay, we're coming out. And maybe a little
Places.
too much places 411. Yeah. Yeah, it was, but standing backstage, you feel like you're going to the guillotine because it's like, why am I? I was so nervous and more nervous about getting all those lyrics out because Patter song, You Don't Stop. Da, 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 da. I don't remember any of the lyrics, but I remember the melody. Da, 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 and they all rhymed, right? Because they're Scottish. But once that body memory kicked in, and like you were saying earlier, I think our last session, about just letting it go.
Sure.
And you have to release that tension and that anxiety.
Yep.
And trust yourself that your preparation will carry and your talent will carry you through.
Yeah.
And it did for me. And I got off that stage and everyone was like, we're all backstage,
That's so
quietly
cool.
going,
The support, that's so awesome.
because we all knew the show, and they knew everyone in that show knew exactly how much time I had to learn it. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, I can do that. Huh? Wait, let me think about this for a moment. What are we cutting? And I've got to learn the dialogue and the scenes, and then this Patter song. The dialogue, you can get through, even if you go up on a line, you can just ad-lib it. But with the song, and it doesn't stop. There's no taking a breath and going, la, 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 la. Hey, let's bring it
Changing
down.
it around.
Yeah.
Hey, well, sometimes it doesn't go as planned, and you learn a really hard lesson of humility, and I think, really, y'all, just don't take yourself so seriously when these things go down. If they happen, they happen. I was given a phone call, can you do a corporate gig tomorrow? It's just one song, and we're going to learn. We have tonight to learn it. There's monitors everywhere. It's going to be okay. There's a marching band, and you guys will just run up on stage. I got 5 of you, and you're going to sing the corporate song, and the monitor's right there, and then you run off and clap your hands. It sounded pretty easy. So that night, I go to rehearsal, learn the melody over and over again, got that down solid. The lyrics were a bit much, but I kept thinking, oh, I've got monitors. Yes, I've got monitors.
Of course there were no monitors, were there?
Oh, God. So the first group, so we fast forward to the performance, and room is filled. The music starts, the band's playing, the first group kind of runs in, clapping, and then they're up on stage smiling and looking down and kind of just singing, but I couldn't really understand, but it was all good because people are making all the noise. And then it was my turn with my group, and we all run up on stage. We go up and music's continuing, and look down to the monitor, and it was the logo of the company on there. And the whole time it was, I don't know if it's unknown, what is really nothing. I mean, there were no words. It was smile. It was make some kind of noise of sound with, you remember the melody. Yes, a couple words, forget it. It was long gone by then. Yeah. And when the lyrics finally went on towards the end of the song, they were shuffling. It was like the lyrics
where are they?
were moving.
Just say the corporate name over and over again.
Oh, man.
We died. And after we died, we laughed so hard. And it's like one of those stories. We just marched off proudly and just gave it our all of watermelon for days. And watermelon, watermelon, watermelon. Hey, yes. And it was done. But, it was, who was the monitor person? I mean, at that point, does it really matter? You had a marching band. We were smiling. Yeah. You're good. And that's what it ended up being. So we made it. We survived. And there was one of the biggest lessons in humility, Mm-hmm. Hey, we messed up, but we were smiling. And we enjoyed it. No one got mad at, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
And that's one thing that we'll talk about later on in other sessions is corporate gigs and how to handle those as well. But yeah, the humility, I mean, I was just thankful. And then I thought to myself, okay, Lillian, don't get cocky because you got to do this again tonight. We had two shows on a Tuesday. So don't sit there, slap yourself on the back because it's going to come around to bite you if you get a little, hey, I nailed that, right? But I went back to my lyrics. and kept going over them, again and again and again. Do you guys remember any more bloopers? Anything else happened to you on stage, Leonard? You, not everybody else that you got to watch. What happened to you, Leonard?
What happened to me? Oh my goodness. Well, one time I was doing Godspell. This was with Lambs Players, and I was singing All Good Gifts, and there's a moment where I had this candle thing, and they had to put lighter fluid in beforehand.
Oh, no.
But the guy who was in charge of the products took too much, so when it was lit, I'm downstage, and then the flame was just like, whoa. Like huge.
What?
Did you lose your eyebrows?
I didn't, but it was like, he freaked out. He was so sorry. It was like, I thought it was kind of funny.
Oh,
but
my goodness.
It was just huge. And a lot of the bloopers aren't always about our voice. It's about what happens
Situation,
around
yeah.
us. And it was just, I just kept going. And boo, all good gifts are.
Smoke.
Yeah.
At the Horton Grand, and they have a beautiful stage and lovely heavy curtains, and we were the surprise. And when the curtains opened, it took down the whole front line of microphones and the keyboard. And the keyboard with the sheet music flying on the dance floor. That was pretty awesome. That was before iPads and stuff. But yeah, that was a disastrous fun moment. Never forget it.
Well, on that happy note, this ends our session before we all fall off the
I
table.
know.
Right? Nobody moves, nobody dies,
Nobody
right?
gets-
No.
Exactly.
Thanks for being there. Tune in next time. We'll have more fun and interesting tidbits for the singer's process.
Woohoo.
Aha.